Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your girl, Cherrell. I'm the host of Let's Talk the Show, and this ain't a podcast. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We got a great show in store. Before we get started, you guys know we got to start off with something we're grateful for, and as usual, I will kick it off. Tonight, I am grateful for, I'm just grateful for life today. I don't have anything extra special tonight. I see you guys are joining in. Make sure you drop something in the comment section that you're grateful for. I usually have a set topic, but tonight I didn't have nothing to talk about, you guys. I really kind of just want to, I don't know. I don't like to talk about, I like to talk about anything that's not pressing or that I don't feel is important. So, I'm sorry, something is just not right today. I don't know, something seems not right. But anyways, so I don't like to talk about topics that I don't feel passionate about, or that I think, I don't like to say a lot of things. I just don't talk about stuff that's not, I'm oh, okay, I like this. It has to be something I like on a scale from 9 to 10. If I don't, or 8 to 10. If I don't like it, for real, I'm not gonna do it. And tonight's that night. Nothing really was speaking out to me, grabbing at me. So I didn't really come to the topic. I want to know if there's anything you guys want to discuss, anything you guys want to discuss. Let me see here. I see you guys are coming in. Make sure you share this conversation with 3 friends you think would love the conversation. So make sure we just hit that that little arrow in the lower right corner and share this conversation with 3 friends you think will love it. Something I did want to talk about today that's been whooping my ass is parenting. Parenting is hard, man. It's so hard, especially when you're trying this new way of parenting versus the kind of traditional way, which is just not whooping my kid and still trying to, it's called conscious parenting. And so it's just I don't want to whoop my kid or inflict any type of physical pain on my child in order to get them to understand and change their behavior and whatnot, whatever. So I'm not doing that. So it's so hard because that's all I know, that's all I see people do. It's so hard to just want to be let me just pop my son and call it a day, but this just don't work, y'all. I can't pop my kid. My kid, this doesn't work for my kid. So parenting has been whooping my ass this week, the last 2 weeks, low key. So I don't know. Figure I need to read some books or something. I think that's what I need. I feel I be liking to say that my kid be doing this and this and that, and then I sit around and I think, and it's probably not my kid. It's probably how I'm responding to my kid. So that's one thing I like to do. Just kind of reflect on how I'm treating my kid. Am I PMSing or is it close to my period? Is my mood? Am I a little more agitated? Because I've just I've honestly just paid attention to how I respond to my kid and how his behavior acts afterwards. It's just if I'm being all irritated or I'm being cranky, he's responding to the crankiness, you know what I'm saying? But if I'm just loving, still firm and whatnot, he just responds normally. And so I try to just keep my moods in check and be more mindful, when it's around my menstrual cycle and things like that, because I know that those things affect my mood and it really does affect how I interact with my son. So I just like to be cautious of things like that. But yeah, so you guys are coming in. Yeah, I didn't have anything to talk about for real. What else? I don't know. I think that somebody was saying, how May is Mental Health Month. We were talking about, I don't know, I feel a lot of conversations nowadays are just surrounded by mental health, and sometimes it's just a lot. Sometimes I don't want to talk about so much sad stuff. I don't really want to talk about that. So even though it might be a hot topic, it's I'm tired of talking about sad stuff. I want to talk about that. But when it comes to mental health, we were talking a lot about how the weather is breaking. and it's like the first like summer, first for real summer. So the weather is getting hot. People are getting crazy. Like, it's like senseless murders, like every day. Obviously, it's been every day, but you know, when the heat go up, so does the crime. So it's just like we've been talking about that. Like, it's like, I don't want to call us animals, but like, you know, letting people out the cage for the first time and they're going crazy. So it's like, you know, I really just pray that everybody I love make it through. Everybody that I love and that love me make it through. Get to have some fun and enjoy, because it's only gonna be here for a little bit, you know. And just be safe. Be safe, man. Yeah, the summer is coming. The heat is approaching. Motherfuckers acting crazy. I don't know why my face so itchy. But be safe. Get some life insurance. Okay, get some car insurance. Get some if you ain't got none. Get it fully covered, because you just never know what's gonna happen. I know I'm just going over a whole bunch of topics. If y'all got a topic y'all want to talk about, just drop it in the comment section. We can talk about it. I didn't have a topic in particular I wanted to discuss today, because nothing was heavy on my heart. So I'm just talking about the couple things that I was thinking about. So yeah, what else? I was thinking earlier too. I'll tell you guys what I was thinking earlier. About gun violence, and I was thinking that guns, just like sex, are some things that we shame our kids about. I don't know why my face is so itchy, or just like this area in particular. Like guns and sex are things that we shame and try to hide from our kids, and they end up falling victim to it, you know. And the summer is coming, so that means people carrying these guns a lot more hornier, you know, like people freaking every day during the summertime. And it's like, take this opportunity to educate your children. Now, I don't think every child has the maturity to be in a gun range, but there's no reason that any black child, whether there's a gun in the home or not, should not be educated about the basics of a gun, what a gun is, what to do if you see a gun, you know, an adult is not around, you know, what guns can do, who can have guns. You know, I think that every child, you know, I feel like as far as 4 or whatever age you start letting your children spend the night at other people's house, you need to start educating them about guns. They don't have to go to the range, but I think that every child, starting as early as 4 or 5, should be educated on guns, what guns are. You know, like I said, who can have them and things like that, because when you shame them and you create this like, don't worry about it, it's only for adults, then you make them, that leaves them more vulnerable and more likely to fall victim to it. Same thing with sex. It's like, it doesn't, I know some people get like weirded out. It's like, it's too soon for her to be talking about it. But like, if they're bringing it up to you, or he's bringing it up to you, have a conversation with them. Don't shut it off because you think it's too soon, because clearly they know something. Whether it's right or wrong, they're hearing things. So it's like, if you keep pushing it off and you keep trying to shield them from it, you're only going to make them run more to it, you know? So educate them. The minute they bring it up, nip it in the bud at the appropriate level. You know, obviously you can have conversations a little more in depth, a little more detailed with a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 15-year-old than you can with perhaps a 9 or 10-year-old. So if they're having these conversations, if they're having these, you know, you're hearing things, bring it up, talk about it. Because the more that you try to shield them from it and hide it from them, the more likely they're going to be curious. And I told y'all before, curiosity kills the cat. So you know, if you live in urban communities, you're no stranger to gun violence. You know, you hear about it, you see about it. So talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. And when you're talking to, you know, let me tell you something. If you have a gun in your house and it's not secured, you are more of a danger to your child than anybody is outside the home. Put them guns away. Go get somewhere to hide it. You know what I'm saying? Because essentially, your child can fall victim to a gun violence in your house. You know, educate them. Educate the kids. Guns and sex, like these things are running rampant through our community. Violence and sex is, you know, running rampant. Educate them. You don't do them any harm by telling them the truth. You do them harm by hiding it from them. And then letting them figure it out through the streets, through YouTube, through TikTok, through Instagram. Educate your kids. Especially when it comes to, guns and when it comes to sex. Promiscuity is promoted to young boys like never before. Like, I don't even think they think it's just the way of life. Like, that's just what men do. And I just kind of disagree, but that's a conversation for another day. My thing is, when you're having these conversations with sex about boys, make sure you're teaching them all sides. And you be like, what you mean all sides? There is the physical, okay? It's pleasurable. It can be unpleasurable. There's mental. Sometimes sex does create emotions or intensifies emotions. There's illegal. Talk about the age of consent. What rape is. Like, we can't just continue to teach boys, just have sex with whoever you want. And it's like, but some parents don't play that. Teach kids about the legal ramifications or legal consequences of sex. I think the age of consent in Michigan is 16. What if she's 15 and he has sex with him? What if her parents don't play that? And now now they want to press charges against your son. You know what I'm saying? Talk about that. Don't leave any area untouched. For lack of better words. Talk to your kids. Talk to your kids about that. All sides of it, not just the sex is good, this, and just strap up. No. Talk to them about STDs they can get. Talk to them about if a girl accuses them of rape. Talk to them about all the things. You can't just educate your kids on some of it, because then you leave the world to educate them on the rest of it. And I may not necessarily be right. And as they get older, share your experiences. I think that our reviews tend to bring people together, or help people. So give your child, you don't have to give them in-depth, or you can make something up, but give them reviews or give them your experience about something you may have gone through to help guide them. And remember, like, when we're talking to the youth, like, how would you have wanted to be talked to at this age? Like, a lot of people speak from an adult perspective to a kid, and it's like they don't even see it from your level. Like, I like to think that being a kid is like it's like seeing through a what do you call it? Being a kid is like seeing through the paper towel roll, right? There's a big picture outside the paper towel roll, but being a kid, you only see a scope of it. And that's the part of this is part and the joy of being an adult. You see the whole big picture outside of that. So as an adult, don't just teach them the paper towel roll view of sex or guns or of whatever. Make sure you break down that bigger picture to an age appropriate concept so that they can understand. And that when you're speaking to them, remember to speak to them as you would want to be spoke to at that age, not just specifically from your adult view, because it's so hard to sometimes relate. And everybody don't need tough love, Everybody don't need tough love. Some people need gentle love. So yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah. That's really it. I don't have much to talk about today. I feel like it shows in the views. Yeah. I don't know what else. Trying to think about. Actually, I will tell you guys this one second. So I'm back. So let me tell you what I did. So over within the last week or so, I wrapped up, completely finished the autobiography of Gucci Mane with Neil Martinez Belkin. Good book. The Gucci Mane book was really good. Honestly, if I feel like anybody will watch something, I feel like a Gucci Mane miniseries needs to come to Netflix. Like, I would love for him to go back and, get on camera and do the visuals. I feel like this would make, considering like all the shows that they have on TV, I feel like a Gucci Mane miniseries would be fire. Like, yeah. I know it's not like a book that most people be like, something changed my life. But I like I picked this book up when I first started back reading, and I wanted to start back reading I just want to start by reading physical books. Like, I'm not an audio type of person, which is why I literally don't listen to podcasts, because I can't do people talking. If you're not rapping to a beat, I just can't listen to you talk all the time. I will turn that shit off, right? So I can't do audiobooks. I have to read a physical book. And the Gucci Mane book was really good. I think I had bought this book a year ago or so, and I feel like I picked it up and I was really adamant about finishing it now just because it was something that I needed to hear. This book was literally a book of triumph about a man that, fell victim to his own decisions time and time again. And what always seemed like the worst timing always was a time to pull him back, to push him forward. Literally, that's literally the reoccurring theme here, is that any setback is just a comeback. Really, setback is just a setup for a major comeback. Literally, that was literally the reoccurring theme of Gucci Mane's autobiography, and it was good. One thing that I found really funny, that I find admirable about Gucci Mane though, is I knew about his kind of helpings with the Migos and how he went to jail right at the same time Migos were coming up, and by the time he got out, Migos were booming. So I knew about his hand in helping previous artists. I didn't know how close he originally was to Waka Flocka, but I did know that he had some type of relation to Nicki Minaj, like they're just friendship and whatnot. So, but what really shocked me was the producers that he worked with earlier on, such as Zaytoven. Who else? There's like several producers that Gucci Mane originally was working with, cooking up beats, that really like got his career jumping. So that was super dope to me. And another thing that I found really like dope about the Gucci Mane album was Young Thug, which Young Thug is clearly in like the media all over for the RICO charges that he and his group, the YSL, are facing. But Gucci Mane originally signed Young Thug to his label, which I think was 1017. I think that's what it was called, 1017. And he said he ended up going to jail, and that even just like the Migos, Young Thug ended up going somewhere else, being signed or whatnot, and he ended up blowing up. And he said, I'll tell you, I really wish I would have like highlighted what he said, but Gucci Mane basically said that Young Thug, when he met him, he signed Young Thug on the spot because he already knew that Young Thug was a star. He was a black dude, but he was like a rock star. Like, he was a different type of dude. But a lot of people are like really kind of shocked that Young Thug is, bringing up on these RICO charges, and they like, I didn't think he was like that. But after reading the Gucci Mane, prior to reading the Gucci Mane book, I didn't think Young Thug was like that. I always kind of wondered about him, just like I wondered about Lil Uzi. But in the Gucci Mane book, he talked about how Young Thug is a lot of things, but a pushover, weak ass nigga is not one of them. And he was like, he's not the type of nigga that was ever gonna be a nigga flunky. He was never gonna run behind artists. He was always destined to be a star, and that's why him and Gucci hit it off so good, and that's why Gucci always respected him, and that's why he signed him on the spot with no question, because he knew Thug was gonna be a star. And so I'm like, I just finished reading like a week ago, no cap. I'm like, yo, this is a fire book. Like, I think this is dope. Like, just reading all the things that Gucci went through, how him and Keisha got together, his impact and how instrumental he was in the foundation of a lot of big name celebrities in the industry, and especially Young Thug. That was like one that threw me for a loop. And then now to see that Young Thug is facing these RICO charges, it's like, dang, like Gucci was right, like he wasn't wrong. So yeah, it was definitely I would definitely say the autobiography of Gucci Mane's reoccurring theme is that any setback is just a setback for a major comeback. I definitely wrapped that up. And so yeah, it was definitely a book I needed to read. It was like a note to self. So I'm done with that. And like I said, I just picked up books because I wanted to just get back into reading. So I grabbed anything that really spoke to what I like. So I grabbed a self-help book, which was, I guess, a self-help or personal development book, which was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And then I grabbed something else that I really love. I'm a big music fan, hip-hop fan specifically, R&B, things like that. So I grabbed the Gucci Mane book as another book to check out. And then before that, you guys know I read the 4 Agreements. So now, last year, I was co-host for my friend Shad. Shad is the host of the Shad vs. Everybody podcast. Make sure you guys check it out because Shad is like fire. I co-hosted with him his 100th episode. And while we were there with his friends, let me make sure I say it right, because I will be very bad. There we go. Miles. It's so crazy. I was about to call him a guy I went to school with. Miles gave us his book, The Book of Carter, the Business Bible, right? And so I had cracked it open initially a couple months ago when I co-hosted with Shy for his, the anniversary of his show, or the 100th episode. But I hadn't cracked it open since because I had finished the other book. But now that I'm done with the Gucci Mane book, I'm going to crack this open. I'm going to do a better job of going through and highlighting some things. So yeah, I'm going to definitely check this out. If I like it, I'll let you guys know. I already know I'm going to like it. I'm not going to cap to you because I read this book literally when I was leaving this show. I co-hosted the show with him. I was reading a book in the car, literally at the stoplight. So I know it's a book I'm going to love. I know it's something that I can relate to. But yeah, it says it's inspired by Jay-Z. I love to read a book about Jay-Z life too, actually. But yeah, the Book of Carter. I like it though because my last name Carter, so I'm part of the gang. But yeah, so that's my next book I'm gonna read. I thought I'd just share that with y'all because I really don't have nothing to talk about. Nothing is on my mind, for real. Nothing is like pressing. But yeah, so finish the Gucci Mane book. I would definitely recommend if you're a music person, I would say get the Gucci Mane book. Read it. It's inspiring if you're just going through something. You know what I'm saying? It's inspiring if you're going through something. It definitely gives you a little. Towards the end, it's a lot of, because it goes to the years of his life. Towards the end, it gives you a lot of insight about people in the industry and the things that he's worked on behind the scenes. I would say that Gucci Mane is one of those people that I followed through hip hop without intentionally following. So a lot of things he was talking about in his book, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like I can remember when things were popping up in the news, like where is it with a lot of other artists. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that happened, or I didn't know that. So yeah, but I would recommend if you like hip hop, if you like rap, get the Gucci Mane book. Read it. It's a good book. I did a lot of research. There were a lot of names that he brought up that I was like, who is that? So yeah, he talks about a lot of things that a lot of hip hop heads already know. Yeah, and so then next on the agenda is the Book of Carter, the Business Bible by Miles Dixon, inspired by Jay-Z. So I'm ready. I'm excited to read that. I'll probably start reading it when the show's over, honestly. But yeah. I don't know. I always think that God gives me signs through like music. That's like my thing, because I will listen to music all day long. So yeah, I'm really excited. What else? Are y'all reading any books? Let's talk about that. Y'all reading any books? Any podcasts y'all listening to? I know one podcast that's really growing on me is the Just Hilarious podcast. I just watched the clip, so I haven't actually gone back and listened to it. That one, EYL, is like Earn Your Leadership. You guys still know what they are. I think they're a financial literacy podcast. They talk with all the heavy hitters in the industry, and they are fire. Like they've had, they're the group that did the famous clip of Shaq saying who owns Elvis Presley, who owns Marilyn Monroe, and Shaq owns them. So yeah. That's, if you don't know who they are, they have the infamous clip. They have the clip of Jada Cheeves talking about just her hair selling journey. They're really big. Just Hilarious is a really good one. I like the clips between her friend, her two friends, and I think her baby daddy's on there. It's a really good podcast. Shy vs. Everybody is a great podcast. I actually really like clips of The Real Talk with Adore and Daisy. I like that. I'll tag a lot of these podcasts to you guys. They're like really good podcasts. I don't really, like I told you, I don't really listen to it. I like listening to snippets though. But those are like, so I like the clips that they be posting. Trying to think. I don't really listen to podcasts. Any new any shows, books, or podcasts you guys are listening to. Because if you don't got no suggestions, I'm going to read something out of this book. First chapter. Focus. Actually, when I wrap this show up, I'm going to go ahead and check out this book. What else do you guys want to talk about? Anything you got on your mind? Any books, podcasts? Because if not, we can go ahead and wrap this up. I'm gonna crack open this book and get to see what's happening with it. I'm excited. It's nice to be back reading. I've always liked reading though. It was like one of my things. It's like one of my escapes in like middle school. Ooh, that's funny. It's a good question because I wanted to talk about parenthood today, but I was like, yeah, whatever. Are you a single parent? If so, how are you dealing with raising your child in this generation? What have you learned from your parents and upbringing that you're instilling into your child? Woo, that's a good. I am a single parent. I am. It is just me and homeboy rocking out. How am I dealing with raising my child in this generation? Well, I still have a toddler, so I don't have a full like 6-year-old or 7-year-old that I think will be influenced by like the things going on. So it's still hard to tell because I'm not parenting my child the traditional way, so it has those difficulties there. But I feel like it might be the same way for anybody at this point. He's still 3, so he's really young. But I think there's a lot of things I see on social media that I'm like, I don't want my kid doing. As a lot of things. Oh, hey, see, you guys, Shy just joined. He's a podcast that I was talking about where I got the book from. So there's a lot of things I see that people do in this generation that I definitely don't want my kid to be a part of. Eventually they're going to get to a point where they're not so influenced by home and it's a lot of outside factors. So I honestly just want to instill that. I just want to make sure my child is a good person. Like he learns how to, like my biggest thing is like making sure that he knows how to manage himself, that he has self-control, that he has discipline, that he still focuses on his studies. So I want him to be in control of himself. I want him to be able to focus on himself, but I also want to make sure that he's able to go out and learn that he can do whatever he wants to do in his life. He can be anything that he wants to be, because thanks to this generation, I can show you 5 or 10 people that are probably done or doing what you want to do. So I just really want him, to focus on being a good person, not being caught up in the hype, because there's a lot of that shit going on. It's a lot of hype shit going on. I really just want him to be a good person. Have self-control, because a lot of these motherfuckers ain't got self-control, and that's why they in the fucked up predicaments they in. Just teach him to have self-control, have some structure in his life. So I guess that's kind of like how that is. And what have I learned from my parents and upbringing that you're instilling in your child? Structure. Me and my sisters was just talking about that. Structure. Like, even in the midst of chaos, there can still be structure. I had a very, kind of chaotic childhood upbringing, but it was a lot of structure, and that structure, I think, is literally what has gotten my siblings through a lot of stuff in life. And it's like people came from far better situations that are not doing this well. And it's like, even though I grew up in kind of chaos, there was still a lot of structure. My mother still had shit that was just not optional. That shit was just not tolerable. She wasn't going for it no matter what. So it was even though shit was crazy around us, it was just I don't give a fuck about that. This though, this gonna be like this. And so I think that's the one thing that that I want, that my mother instilled, is this is not debatable. This is not optional. This shit is fact. So I just want to make sure that that's something I'm thinking about now. What are some shit that's not debatable with my kid? This is gonna be done no matter what. This is how you're gonna operate no matter what. Because those things still are instilled to me to this day. So yeah, I think that's the one thing: structure. Making sure my kids have a strong foundation, a moral foundation. Know that your education, that's not up for debate. That shit not optional. High school is not thank God he finished, I hope he, that shit not optional. Going to school is not fucking optional. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit that's not optional. Being respectful of adults, that shit not optional. You know what I'm saying? That's, shit like that is not optional. Having self-control, getting your education, believing in something outside of yourself. Because I always say, you can't do this life alone. And I don't just mean having a spouse. I mean with somebody else spiritually. Like, you cannot believe that some of the shit you've gone through have been purely because of you've done some shit. Like, somebody up there is looking out for you. And so definitely just making sure that, you know, you be a good person, you get your education, and you believe in something outside of yourself and outside of this world, because you are not doing it alone. Somebody is absolutely looking out for you. So those are definitely some things that in my upbringing. And my dad, definitely making sure my son knows his history. He's 3, and so, you know, we're going to be getting more into taking him to museums and things like that, and making him know what is all the black men that have come before him, what they faced, and what he, you know, may be looking for, what he should be, not I want to say looking forward to, but some things he may encounter as he's growing up. So yeah, definitely structure and knowing his history are definitely some things that my parents taught me that I definitely want to instill in my child. It's not up for debate. Yeah, knowing your history, definitely not up for debate. What's up? Let's see there. What else? That's a good question. It was really long drawn out on my behalf, so sorry about that. But that was a really that's a really good question. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that. How are you guys? How exactly are you a single parent? If so, how are you dealing with raising your child in this generation? And what have you learned from your parents and upbringing that you're instilling into your child? I love that. That's for you. Shy, you here too. So that question is for you. Do you think you are falling in some parenting, even though your child is still young? Absolutely. Hell yeah. Especially when it comes to discipline, because it's like nobody around me parents. Like, everybody be like, I'm just gonna whoop my kid, whoopings work. I just don't believe that shit. I got whoopings as a kid, and I just don't believe that whoopings work for me. Honestly, my whoopings, I got whoopings and punishment, you know, or I got my phone taken or stuff like that. And in my opinion, whoopings to me don't work. They make children resentful. There was a lot, due to my upbringing, there were a lot of things I was able to do that my parents don't know about, you know. So I don't believe in the traditional way of raising children, because I know for me it didn't work. And most of who I am is purely out of who I am. It's not because of my discipline or things like that. A lot of things that I believe and things like that, you know, have come from my upbringing. But a lot of who I am is just who I am by nature, not because of things that, you know, just kind of happened to me. So I definitely think I'm failing in like the discipline area. I'm really trying to work on that, because it's hard, man. It's hard, especially when people be like, this that white people shit. You whooping that's white people. Black people whoop their kids. Like, I don't want to whoop my kid. My kid is not built for that. He doesn't get whooping. So if I whoop my son, he's going to look at me in pure disbelief and horror. And I like my baby. My baby is a truthful kid. Like, he's not a liar. You know, he's a very, you did this? Yes. Like, he's a very truthful kid. I'm sure that'll change as he gets older. You know, things go. But I like my kid the way he is. And everybody don't need tough love. My baby doesn't need tough love. Now, when I spin the block and I have a second child, maybe things will change. Maybe I'll have to do a mix of parenting. But as of now, definitely discipline. That's like, I feel like I'm winging it at this point. Honestly, I'm winging. I'm winging all of parenting, if you ask me. Let me see. We all think we have time to correct the issue, but time flies and things get put. Yeah, man. That is such a great point, which is really why I feel like that's why I'm so hard on myself, because I understand the magnitude of what I'm doing. Like, you're not just, people are like, I just had a baby. It's like, no, you have to raise a person. Like, they're your kid, but eventually they have to go out into the world and be productive people, and you have to take responsibility for what you did or didn't teach them. And so I understand the magnitude of what I'm doing. I'm not just raising my son. I'm raising somebody's friend, somebody's best friend, somebody's homeboy, somebody's husband, somebody's brother if I want to have additional children. And I understand the magnitude of that, and I want to raise a good kid. So that oftentimes is stressful, and that kind of leads me to think I'm failing in some areas. And then I just don't have a lot of examples around me that are raising or trying to parent children the way I'm doing it. So naturally I feel like I'm drowning, because what the fuck am I doing? But that's why it's important to read and find resources, which is what I'm doing. So yeah, preach. Whoopings don't do nothing. So I 100% agree. I don't know whoopings don't do nothing, man. Let me be honest. I popped my son, and his behavior afterwards was I'm not gonna say so aggressive, but it was a lot more aggressive than my son is. My son is not a very Some kids are just like buck wild and just not are fearless. That's not my son. My son's a very cautious. He's a very friendly kid. He's a very loving kid, but he's a very cautious kid, and he can be very shy and reserved at times. So to see my son want to hit people and just be, I'm like, whoa, what type of behavior is that? And I know that I was like, dang, I did pop him. So now I'm seeing the correlation between me hitting him and violence and how he's reacting to other people. And I'm like, I don't like that behavior. We're never doing this again. That cannot be an option. Not to mention, I don't want my son to resort to violence anytime he's angry. I want my son to manage his emotions. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we whoop our kids and we whooping them and we disciplining them, but we leaving a lot of the love out of it. So now they just responded immediately with violence, and now we got them incarcerated. Now we got them dead. Now we got XYZ problems. And it's like, it's other ways to parent your child instead of knocking their ass out and cussing and yelling and fussing all day. It's just other ways. It's just not the other way. I asked you, shake my head. Too long time. Right? You want to come on here and talk? But yeah, thank you. You had some really good questions. Maybe, I'm not that I wasn't excited. I really just wanted to know what y'all wanted to talk about, honestly. Let's see. I saw Robert join too. Hey. But yeah, definitely, whoopings they're not the way to go. I think that if you think they work for you, I used to bother me, but now I'm just like, you gotta let people, whether I think it's right or wrong, I don't know them people, and I can't change them people because I don't know them people. I try to say a little something, because you know people be real tender about raising their kids. I try to be a little more open to people's opinions though about raising my kid, because I know I could be moody sometimes. So sometimes I could be acting out of just me being mad and he ain't even did nothing. So I'll be quick to check myself. I'm a little more open, because I wasn't that open, but I'm a little more open to listening to opinions and things, especially from those around me. I feel like it's different if it's a random person off the street. But if there's no people around you that are saying something, I feel like that's a safe space to listen, especially if you feel like they're decent people. And they should be decent people if they're around you. So I'm trying to be more open and listening. Just about everything, not just parenting, my views on a lot of things. So I'm trying to definitely open the dialogue and give myself more room for criticism and space to grow. So yeah, definitely that. Love that. So yeah, what else? What books are you guys reading? What are you guys doing? I feel like something looks so different. I feel so small. Maybe it's how the camera's positioned. I kind of like this though. I'm thinking about later on that when I'm editing this and putting it into highlights, how much room I have above me and on this side for captions to go off. I don't know, maybe that's just a content creator to me. I'm thinking like you guys have a good view of me, and then it's a good space right above my head, and then on this side to have captions go. So, hey, you want to join? Come on, let's talk. Send a request. We'll get you on here. We can talk about stuff. I think you have to hit, let me see. There we go. So yeah, I sent you an invite. Come on, let's talk. We can talk about stuff. I think I got some more time. My kid ain't up yet. See if you get it. Come on. But yeah, guys. Hello.
Hey,
What's going on?
what's up with you?
Can you hear me?
Thanks for having me. Yes, I can
You're
hear you. Thanks for having
welcome.
me.
I'm glad you could
I can,
join.
yeah, I got like a few minutes before this kid come in and start doing his schoolwork and stuff. So, we got a lot of reading and writing to do.
Oh, snap now.
Right. Yeah, but no, I just want to piggyback off of, the question I asked you, and you actually highlighted, about the whippings. I wholeheartedly agree with that because I don't see a scenario where whooping your child actually solves something longevity.
Yeah.
Right then and there, it might solve something in that time or that moment right there, but after that whooping wears off, the kid right back doing to whatever they're doing or whatever. And then sometimes you gotta look at
Yep.
the longevity effect of it might be more of a, how can I say, more of a relationship issue with you and your child when he grows up, because, or he or she grows up, because, they might think about like, man, you used to beat me and used to do this and do that to me. So now they might be doing it to their child. They might have resentment towards, the parent, the bond might not be that strong. They might not come to you for, information. Like, you just don't know how far the ripples will go when you cast that rock in that lake and stuff like that. But the whoopings are yet to see the ramifications of anything good coming from it, and stuff like that. And you got, and like you said, you got to look at the time and era where we grew up in. I'm an '80s baby, so my mom never beat me. My dad never beat me at all. A lot of my family members said I should get beaten, but
They
but
do. They be saying
uh,
that. Yeah.
right, man. Like, if your mom only beat you, this, but I'm like, I was still turned out. I feel like the way that I turned out, whether it was good or bad or whatever. But with my son, like you said with yours, I do more like talking to him. Like, I always ask him
Yeah.
little big questions like, am I a good father? How can I improve? In the relationship. Just to help him out the way he could feel comfortable. And that's one thing I always, or holding something there for years and years and years, and it'd be like
Yeah.
25, 30 years old, he might blow up at me like, well, at 9 years old, 10 years old,
Yeah.
just snapping at me. I'm like, what? But again, like, we talk almost every other day, long conversations and stuff like that. And I would just be picking his brain and stuff like that. So I always told him, like, man, don't ever feel bad. Just like a while ago, I didn't cut my whole hand open because this kid threw his boomerang in
Wow.
some type of tall tree where I had to climb a fence to get over top of it. And I sliced my hand open climbing the fence. So, the first thing he thought about was like him getting in trouble. I'm like, for what? Like, we got a great relationship where you could come to me like, this ain't nothing. Like, you threw the boomerang, you got stuck in a tree. Like, oh, okay, I want you to be mad or whatever. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's mistakes, son, so I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be mad about that. But yeah, parenting, man, it's hard. It is definitely hard.
It's hard as hell. Just be winging. I feel like I'll be winging it most of the time. Just like shit. Just figure day by day. I feel like if I'm not reading something or trying to get new tools, like I'm just winging it. And it's like, this shouldn't need to come with manual. I feel like God needs to start sending him down, send these little kids down here with manuals or something. Stop sending them down here with no instruction. Cause I'm tired, okay? I'm getting tired. Send them with some coupons or something, because they're a little expensive too. So send them a little coupon, send them a little manual or something so we can work something out, because it's beginning to be too much now here. But yeah, definitely. I don't know. I think that I didn't watch the full clip. I saw a clip of Farrakhan talking, and he was saying that somebody had asked a question like, should we whoop our kids or should we hit our kids? And he was like, I want to say yes, but he says we do a lot of whooping and we don't add a lot of love to it. So we just hitting our kids. And one without the other, that's how you create that resentment. That's how you create those violent kids. And I like to think like, we think whooping works so well, but our kids are always constantly fighting. We got a ton of gun violence in our community. And there are other factors that are contributed to it. But what would our communities look like if we asked our children or taught our children not to resort to violence first? What would our community look like if we said, try to talk it out first? And what would that look like though? We think violence got to be the first way, and it really don't. And it's like, what would that look like if we taught them another way to respond to one another?
Right, and definitely, like you said, like I was going to write about reinventing the wheel or whatever, because like with the resource that your parents had about raising you or whatever is different than what we got now.
Absolutely.
So you got to look at, sometimes, like I remember my grandma told me that a loaf of bread when she was growing up was like 5 cents, 5 cents loaf of bread. So till now, like bread a couple dollars.
Right.
That's the store brand or whatever. So again, like the things that they had to do to raise kids, and then they try to install into like our generation. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I'll be telling my grandma and mom, I'm like, I just try to learn from y'all and implement it into how I want to raise my son or whatever, stuff like that. Because my mom, she worked 2 jobs, so she barely was home. So roughly, I raised myself or whatever.
Yeah.
And the outcome of that was I was hard headed. I played a lot. I didn't take school serious. You know, I was always in the streets, stuff like that. I really didn't have too much of a, like, that helicopter parent or that structure and stuff like that. So I saw the ramifications of a person that, you know, a person that worked to provide, but on the other hand, they wasn't there to give me the necessary tools to, I guess, to flourish in life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now that I'm an adult now, whatever, and I'm a parent, I'm like, you know what, this is not what I want. Like, I know I have a job, but my main job is to make sure I'm there for my child or whatever. I don't want to be no absent parent, you know, or he could feel it, because kids, you know, kids will see that, you know, like you just give them a game or a tablet, like, go play or whatever. Yeah, that's cool, but when they grow on up, they're like, well, yeah, you was around, but you wasn't around.
Yeah.
You know, like, I didn't do all these things, and here I am, busy working. I get a call, hey, your son Boomerang gets stuck in a tree. You know, I had to drive like 5 minutes down the street to go get it, you know, but I wanted to make sure that I was present, that anytime you call me, I got you and stuff like that. So always, I tell people, always try to reinvent the wheel, because we can always talk about, well, how I was raised this and how I was raised that or whatever, but you know, you can't keep using it as a crutch sometime or whatever. You know, you always gotta, like, you know what, I'll raise this way, but let me change the dynamic of that or whatever, because we're in different times. Women are working way more smarter, got way more degrees, and they can drive cars and got their own companies and CEOs and stuff like that. That was unheard of. Yeah, there you go. That was unheard of with my mom and stuff like that. You know, if so, it wasn't in the spotlight as much. You know, stuff like that. And mind you, even in my family, my son is the first, like, quote unquote, like, star celebrity in the family or whatever. You know, we don't really have that. So you know, so they're just workers. Like, they work and come home.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, you know what? I want to do something different. You know, we in this time and era with technology and everybody. You got kids that born millionaires.
Yep. Man, the life.
So yes, reinvent the wheel, and I will go back to what you were saying about being feeling as a parent. You know, I wholeheartedly 1000% agree with you. Like, we all fail as parents. Nobody has the right answers for a lot of questions and stuff like that. You got all these books, but the books sometimes don't contain to you and stuff like that. They'll contain to your child. You know, like, again, I was planning on having a, you know, a healthy baby, girl or boy. You come out with all these medical issues. What was the book for that? I wasn't, you know, I wasn't mentally prepared or most prepared for that. So I had to, you know, dive into, you know, the resources and information about that and stuff like that. So again, man, I feel like I feel like I'm always failing as a parent, because I might did good on Tuesday, fail on Wednesday. Woo! Oh, you know, today is a different day. Yeah, today is a different day, man. Like, you know, and I always say that. I'm like, all right, man, I gotta do better than what I did yesterday. And they come out with a whole new chapter with a whole new different obstacles. I'm like, good grief, man! Like, this week is just crazy. So, you know, and I be telling my son sometimes, man, you know, I be up to like 2, 3 in the morning just pondering, like, man, like, how can I be better as a parent? Like, not me always, like, you know, either fussing at him or being, you know, listening more, or, you know, being more this or more that. It's just a lot, man. I always question myself or whatever. And, you know, I think I am a good parent, but I feel like I could be better.
Yeah. And I think that makes the good parents. I think the bad parents are the ones that's like, I got this shit. I'm doing it. This like, nah, nigga, you probably fucking up. You probably fucking up. You fucking up. You for sure fucking up if you say it like that. Because I feel like the good parents are always like, did I do that right? Or, damn, I could have not been like that. I feel like the good parents are like constantly reflecting. Like, I got to do this better for my baby. Is the bad ones, it's like, I got this in the bag. I'm hurt. I got this. It's like, no, your kid hates you. They hate you. You know, so I definitely agree. You got to reflect, man. I think a lot of parenting is really just being a better you, because you literally pour onto your child. It's really about making sure you are in tip-top shape to give to your kid, because whatever you give to them, they is going to take it and run with it. They are literally sponges. and they repeat everything, they absorb everything. So it's really like you got to make sure you're in good shape before you go pouring that negativity or that unnecessary stuff into your kid, because they gonna remember it, they gonna mimic it, and you gonna see it. They gonna do it again. They're gonna do exactly what you're doing. So I definitely agree with you.
Right, and I don't be the parent that be like, you know, do as I say, and you know, not as I do, or because I told you so, or whatever. I don't be like that or whatever. I always like say, I would ask my son, like, you know, when he asked me questions or whatever, I was like, well, why did you think like that, or what made you come to that conclusion, you know, or you know, what would you think that answer would be correct and stuff like that, just to get his perspective on it, because I'm an adult now, so of course I'm on this level of adulthood where I'm thinking way like light years beyond him. As an 8-year-old, I'm trying to think how I was at an 8-year-old. Like, why would I cross the street without looking both ways? Why would I think that, you know, this is a good move or whatever, or to throw this and, you know, up a tree or whatever and stuff like that. And once you know, talk to him, I'm like, okay, I can see how you get to that,
right?
You know, that answer.
It's like, okay,
I can understand, you know. Okay, I got you. But some parents like, no, this just like listen what I say. Whatever I say, you got to do it, whatever. And sometimes it's not always the, you know, the correct way to go about things or whatever and stuff. But again, it's your upbringing. Sometimes people don't try to break that mold and stuff like that. 'Cause like I said, I got a big mama, and my big mama still try to tell me how to raise my kid, and she was born in the 1800s. You know, and she think there's so many things still apply to this day. I'm like, what? Grandma, really don't. We don't got 5-cent loaf of bread no more, Grandma. So, you know, so yeah.
Somebody said love you from Hong Kong. You got some love for Hong Kong there.
Okay, Hong Kong. But I'm glad. I'm glad that you know, you see your flaws and just try to, you know, correct them as you go. Because like I said, my son was just born. He's 8 years old now. Like, I was looking at him today and it's like, man, like he's getting taller. He's talking more. Like, I'm like, what happened? You know?
Right.
So you know, right now you like say you're at that stage of your kid. How old is your child?
3.
Oh yeah. So you're at that stage now, and just like, you know, like they're between him born and the good 3-4 years old. But after that mark, man, you know, it's no more. It's like I blink, and next thing you know, they're eye level to you. You know, you gotta. Like,
he almost eye level to me. I ain't talking. I get your point. You have water in your
mouth. You might gotta square up with him after a while or whatever. Like, hold on.
Yeah, now already you be. It's crazy. I think you made a really good point, though. I think you made a good point to like to listen to what your kid says. I think a lot of people don't listen to kids, and then they're shocked when they do listen for a second. Their kid says something that's like, "What?" It's like if you really listen to what kids have to say, it literally be stuff that catches. It's always like, how do you know that, or where'd you learn that? And it's like if you listen to them talk more often, you really be surprised about the things they know. They know a lot of things. They know. I'm always in shock, and I hear my son talking. I'm like, what the heck? Where'd you learn that, bro? Like, where did you get that from? Or how did you even know that? It's literally the most amazing thing to just listen to them and let them just tell you whatever it is. Like, that's a good point. Definitely listen to your kids. You gotta listen to them.
And definitely, like you said, man. Like, you know, as you grow older, your kid get older and stuff like that. So, you know, and I always say this all the time too, you know, you're never too old to teach, but you're never too young to learn and stuff like that. Or you're never too young to teach, and you're never too old to learn. There you go. So the older you get, you know, you still learning. Like I told you, I'm still learning every day. Every single day, man, you know, with this child. As soon as I think that I have him packed down, like, we on a schedule now, he'll throw me a curveball. I'm like, you know, what is this new thing that you're doing or you're saying or whatever and stuff? And again, that was Monday. 24 hours gone. It's Tuesday. He got to hit the reset button. It's
not the same game no more. It's like, yo, come on, please.
Yeah, the reset button is crazy.
I agree. I definitely agree. I agree,
100%. But before I let you go, I want to ask you, like, what have you learned since being a parent? And don't say the cliche thing of patience, because everybody say that, like, my kids taught me patience.
That'd be a lot, because I don't think I even got that much more than I had before I had them. Shit, that'd be a lot. Definitely not about that one. Learn about patience. What about learn since having a kid? Honestly, I will say, really, I learned since having a kid, every day is a new day to just try better. I don't think I really understood that concept before having a kid. Even though I ran the business and everything, I really think I understand more and more every day to try harder the next day and to not take what happened the day before into the next day. Start over, do better. I really have learned that a new day is a reset and to just try better. Honestly, that's really like the biggest thing for me. What about you?
What have I learned? Uh, yeah, like every day is a new day, but you know, ooh, here I am answer your question. I don't even know the answer to my own question, but you caught me on that one. But like something that I learned is, like I told him. Oh yeah, something I told him like a while ago. He asked me, was I like proud of him or happy, that he was born and stuff like that. And I always told him that, he gave me a purpose in life, and I told him that, when I was going through my journey from, a kid, a teenager, young adult, it was just all about me. I was self-absorbed. I always party, played around or whatever. I never really took life serious at all or whatever. Like I never had a goal to where I put down something on a piece of paper and I wanted to accomplish and stuff like that. And it wasn't until he was born that everything just made better sense in my life. Like he just gave me a purpose to like not only value him but like value my own life. Because I was raised up, if you live to see 21, that's a blessing.
Right.
YOLO, live like like your last day and stuff like that or whatever. It's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna party because the more I ain't promised or whatever. And I'm like, that could be far from it. Like when people say that, you're getting older or you're old man or old woman, you should be thankful for that. Like that's a blessing for me. And I be telling people I'm trying to run the numbers up. Like okay. I'm 30, I'm 38. I'm just trying to climb that ladder and stuff like that. So I'm not in denial to where, I want to be 20 all my life and 30 is just like I work out all the time. My son keeps me active or whatever, so I don't feel old. Sometimes my body might disagree, but it's up here in the mental, But again, I told him that he gave me a purpose in life to where I want more out of life and just just living for today and stuff like that or whatever. And I always appreciate him just giving me that much. So that's just something I learned. Like I just value life way more than what I did, before he was born. Like right. I say, like value my life is like whatever. Anything happen to me, I'm good. But not thinking that I have a mother that loves me. I have a sister that values me and loves me. I had nieces and nephews that look up to me or whatever. Not thinking like that or whatever. That way I have family members or loved ones to go back to, right. or they care for me or whatever. But like once he was born and all the things he went through or whatever, I'm like, oh, that's it right there, man. Like it just, for whatever reason, like I got tunnel vision and it just life became a little bit more simpler. And and again, so I told him, I said, thank you very much for giving me a purpose, So that's my little man right there, loving to death, man. Like he gets on my nerves.
Don't they? Don't they? I swear.
Oh my God.
The God, they do. They get on your nerves.
Yeah, I want to box him all the time or whatever and stuff, but it's more planned and being serious and stuff like that. And I remember he told somebody that I beat him. And I'm like, man, dude, I think I popped you maybe one time my whole life.
You ain't seen no whooping. Trust me, I ain't got a whooping, baby. You ain't seen no whooping now. You ain't seen no whooping, baby. You wouldn't know what to do if you got a whooping.
I'm like, right. I'm like, man, you were like, I said, you probably around about like 3 years old, 2 years old. How can you remember that? Or what I said, I do so much pump faking and threatening. I'm like, man, like, dude, I would beat you up. I would do this and do that. And for whatever reason, they stick with him. But if I was him, I'm like, man, my dad always talking. But he don't be about nothing. Yeah,
you ain't about nothing. You don't
yeah. But he don't never try me. So I'm like, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm gonna keep it going with the threats.
This gonna work. He'll catch on eventually, but not today though. We gonna keep this going.
Right. So I pray, man. I'm like, man, dude, man, if you don't do this, do that. And sometimes my presence alone or how I look at him, he'll get the message and stuff like that, man. But I'm like, we still at that age, we still at that time. I'm good because one time he be like, so what you gonna do about it? Like you think you hit me, then hit me. Then I'm like, oh, what?
Now you gotta show him better than tell him.
Right.
Not there. I like that. Oh, I like that. He's so adorable. He's so adorable.
But I ain't gonna hold you up, man. Like I said, I thank you again for even just having me on or whatever.
I'm glad
I know you said you didn't have nothing to talk about. Yeah, you say you didn't have nothing to talk about. And when I was writing it, I'm like, man, it's more better to say it than just trying to type it on out. And some of your replies were like spot on. So I'm like, oh man, she's there with me.
I'm so glad you came because I really didn't. I was about to get ready to wrap it up, close it out. Like, I can come on. I'm like, oh yeah, come on. Let's talk about it. I love it. I'm so glad you can come on. I'm glad we chatted. I see everybody's in here. You got love from Hong Kong in there. I saw Kendra posted balance. Somebody called you that's being intentional, my brother. You get love in here. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, you're doing an amazing job. I know you running the number. Yeah, you running the numbers up every week, man, to be that consistent, man. You know, some people, if they don't get what they feel like they deserve right away or that instant gratification, you know, they'll clock on out. But for you to, you know, to keep going throughout your, you know, adversity and stuff like that, and you know, what you say you had 200 episodes or something like that.
No, that I had co-hosted somebody with on their 100th episode. But I'm sure I've hit 100 episodes. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm sure I've hit 100.
yeah.
I'm sure.
And you say you like 2-3 years in, right?
I'm 2.5 in.
Oh yes. So that's like that is something to be, you know, be happy, thankful, and even just to celebrate and stuff like that, man. Cause like I said, some people just clock out ASAP after like a week. Like, man, I gave it a week. You know.
Yeah. Man. It's hard, but I appreciate you. I appreciate the noticing because I be like, I do like just anybody when you're just doing it for so long, you feel like you didn't get what you want. One moment, you naturally just want to be like, I'm hanging on up. But like I told my sister today, like as much as I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. I want to stop. I'm like psyched, but I'm gonna go to work tonight though. I'm gonna get on there and I'm gonna do my show and I'm gonna talk my junk afterwards. But I'm gonna be there next Tuesday though. I'm gonna talk my junk. Right. I'm gonna do it though. So thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. And if you ever have any self-doubt, just know, like, even though sometimes I don't catch you at like 7 o'clock, right on the dot, you know, every now and then, I might peek on there and check out what you're doing. You know, I'll be busy with that, but you just give me motivation when I just still see you just be posting like your clips or even your whole live or whatever. So like that, I'll go back, you know, when you already posted, just check it on out from time to time because, you know, it does even help me out a little bit. Cause even today, you know, it wasn't my best day of being cheerful or whatever. Then next thing you know, I got 2 amazing emails. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, like this just, you know, like somebody sees, you know what I'm doing or whatever,
right.
Writing on out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting honored for this. And people reaching out to collaborate there. I'm like, man, I said it would drive for like 2 months. So I'm like, you know, so these things like that, it comes, you know, not in waves, but when it comes, man. So it just made me a little bit more cheerful. So you always cheer me up when you just keep posting weekly because it be those weeks that I'd be like, yeah, I'm just going on vacation for a couple, you know, like a month or two. But when you keep posting, I'm like, if she keep posting, I'm gonna keep posting now.
I love that. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that because it do be seeming like she'll be going unnoticed. I'll be like, bro, I don't like Karen. They ain't looking at me, but I really do appreciate that. For real. I do. Right. Thank you so much.
No problem. I love it. No problem. You like I said, you never know who's watching. Never know, man. Like I said, you might not do all the numbers like I be wanting to do sometimes, man. But you just the right person see it. That's all it takes, man. You know, so just keep doing it. I would say never quit. Keep it.
Yeah, right. Never quit. I like that. Okay, you gotta tell people where they can find you. You gotta tell people where to find you.
Yeah, you go.
Your baby got a podcast.
Yeah, you can find me on our main Instagram, The Life of Chase Elijah, and Chase is spelled CHACE. And we just started our podcast in January, and we do it twice a month, and that's called My Son and I Podcast. And it's just me and my son. We had like special guests from time to time, whatever. But me and my son just talking about, you know, our relationship together. Me talking about him being a kid, me being an adult, and just sharing our experience together, you know, as we just go on this journey. So yes, so it's My Son and I Podcast on all platforms that I could think about. And our main Instagram is the Life of Chase Elijah, and that's roughly again is about him and his journey through life from a kid till him being 8 years old. So
I
thank
love
you
it. I
again.
love it. I see your followers on here, so I'm gonna shout myself out too. I'm Cherrell
Oh yeah,
Carter, the
please.
host of Let's Talk the Show, and this is not a podcast, you guys. This is a talk show. You guys, yes, you guys can always find me on Instagram at Let's Talk the Show, or you can find me on YouTube, Let's Talk the Show, all one word. Yeah, that's really all I got. So we gotta go out the same way we came in. You gotta give something you're grateful for.
Again, I'm grateful for air. I'm grateful for life.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my loved ones. I'm grateful for my coworkers, strangers around. I'm just grateful for all the positive energy that I've been getting throughout my life. No matter, like I say, somebody just ran across on the street, or somebody I knew for 20, 30 years or whatever. I'm just grateful for everybody who has some type of effect on my life or whatever. And sometimes you take that for advantage or whatever, because you always think somebody's going to be there all the time. And as you can see with COVID, a lot of things have happened.
Yeah.
With certain family members or friends that's no longer here and stuff like that. And I'm not going to be on a sad note right now, but like one of my good friends, I was talking to him, and like 2 days later he passed away.
Wow.
And that kind of hurt me, because that was 2 days before my son's birthday. So
wow.
I'm like trying to get through that. I was just talking to him or whatever, and it's been like months though. But it's crazy because I still be texting his phone. A lot of like just, hey man, what's up? Just because he had that much of an impact on me and stuff. So I'm just always thankful for just the life that I have while I'm here on this earth, to try to bless everybody else that I can help out. Positive energy. So. And
I'm sending condolences to you and his family as well. I would say, so I'm gonna go out saying what I can. I will say that I am grateful for. So while I'm going, if you guys are in the comment section, go ahead and drop something else you're grateful for. If I can get one person to drop it there what they're grateful for, I go out. I'll say I am grateful for. I'll give it. I'm just grateful to be here. I think you can't go wrong as long as you're trying every day. And I'm just grateful I got another day to do it again, that he saw fit for me to wake up, and go a little harder, because that's really all I'm trying to do. So yeah, I'm definitely grateful for another day. Okay, you can't go wrong with that. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm so glad you got to come on today. I'm so excited.
No problem. Give you a shout out to your co-host too, man. You forgot to shout your co-host out.
Oh, he got a little going on with the wig up top, but he barely broke y'all. Okay, my favorite co-host. But yeah, okay, baby, hold on, cause they're okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's that time. It's that time.
But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for coming. I'm so happy you guys to come on today. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. My name is Cherrell Carter. I'm the host of Let's Talk the Show, you guys, and this ain't a podcast. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you for joining me. See you guys.
All right, thank you for having me. Y'all have a good night.